All right, good morning. It is Monday, January 13th. We are Wake Up and Resell with Reseller Revenue Facebook group. We are ready to go this morning with our Monday metrics, which we do every Monday together to keep us on track. We need to be reviewing these metrics to keep us in line with eBay's expectations of us and to keep our accounts in good standing. So let's see what we got this morning. Sometimes I'm as surprised as anybody when these happen. So first, let's go to your seller hub. So go to the right-hand corner and either hit sell or however you prefer to get into your seller hub. And let's make sure that we go to orders and check for returns first. So I have one return and I'm not even going to fight it. It says missing pieces because it didn't have a safety chain, but it didn't have a safety chain when I sold it. So, but I just said, okay, no problem. Please open a return and I'll refund you when it comes back because I'll just turn around and sell it. So check your returns. Just make sure there's nothing you need to be doing. Make sure that you don't need to be refunding anybody. Then check requests and disputes. This lady, not that I should be showing things here, but I had an issue with this payment dispute here. Over $700 worth. I did learn a pretty good what do you call it, lesson in the fact that, remember, if you don't have a signature confirmation on orders over $700, $750, you lose all your seller protections. So remember that, because I was thinking my order was $744 and I thought, oh, I hope I did signature confirmation, and I had. But Harry brought up a really good point, is you can only pull tracking information from USPS for 90 days, I think. And that's where you pull down your downloadable signature confirmation report. So make sure you go in, and if you have signature confirmation, go in, retrieve that and save it in a folder somewhere in case you need it. Because if I hadn't been able to retrieve that, I would have been up a creek. So, and that's a lot of money to be on the hook for. She went back as far as she could, 6 months, 6 months worth of every order she'd ordered from me, and said she didn't recognize the transactions. And that was one order with 700. There was just tons of them, but eBay covered all of them automatically, except for that one that was over 750. So maybe it was over, it must have been 774. And I was over the 750 by just a little bit. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to go to our seller hub, and you go to your store and then your performance. I did it quick, but not performance. Go to your performance tab. I did all backwards this morning, didn't I? Go to your performance tab and go to seller level. Performance tab, seller level. Just take a good overview. Hopefully all three top boxes are top rated. Hopefully your transaction defect rate is 0. These are our most important items here. Check on your late shipment rate. You have about a 3% buffer there. I know exactly what mine are. My fault, my problem. But my tracking uploaded on time and validated is got one item on it. So we get a 5% buffer on it, trying to make sure that we're within our things here. This one here was uploaded on time, but I had no carrier scan, and that's the acceptance scan we talk about. So I shipped it on time, but I didn't get my acceptance scan on time. So just watch that. Make sure if you have any problems, we go over it after our topic today. You can ask me anything you want to about that if you ran into any issues you didn't realize you had. And right here underneath the seller dashboard, we can go right to the resolution center. I would check on that. This is kind of everything we go over in a little, what do you call it? Like a little all in one spot here. So this is where you can do your buyer's requests and disputes, or create or view a request here too. So we don't usually look at that, but that's just start coming up underneath that tab. So check it out if you like going in that way better. So we'll go back on our performance and go to service metrics. This is mostly about our returns and how happy people are, if you get INADs and stuff. So right here, our current rate, mine is September through November. There's nothing I can do about that now. I'm fine, not worried. Go to projected rate. This is where we are right now. So we need to see where we're at. See over here where you compare to your peers. Hopefully you guys are all in the green or maybe yellow. You start creeping up into high or very high. Starts getting a little dicey. So check it out. We can get assessed fees if we get into the very high category and have over 10 transactions returned. So we want to make sure that we're not in there. So, and check your feedback while we're here on Mondays. Check to make sure you don't have any negatives that you want to take care of, or even some neutrals you may want to take care of. Just a good thing for us to do while we're in there. So that's our Monday metrics. Check them every week. Stay on top of things. Make sure we don't let them go. I always find that the sooner we take care of things, the sooner better outcomes we have sometimes. So I'm going to try to do something motivational as positive as what I seem to be able to be anymore. Monday motivations, but I did say strengths and weaknesses, but for the most part, I wanted to talk about how it is so easy for us to focus on our weaknesses and what we can change about ourselves and what we can do to be better. But sometimes I think we skip over the whole part of what if we focused more on what we're good at or what we enjoy or what our strengths are. And then it got me down the thought process of how do we even know what our strengths are? And there's just some things about each of us that are set in stone, that are just non-negotiables either with our personality or our life or whatever we're doing at the time. There's just the best example I have is the night owls versus the early morning people. There's just people that are more productive at night. There's just people that are more productive in the morning. Like I know my core hours are between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. So whatever hard things, whatever things I don't want to do, I need to knock them out between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. Because after that, I kind of go down a little bit of a slope, kind of fight myself a little bit. It feels like an uphill battle. So it's the same type of thing. That doesn't, it's not a positive for me, a strength, but we have to know our own, when we're the best. And as far as strengths go, sometimes I think that we can, easily get down on ourselves and we can easily say, well, if you did this better, you would be better. When I feel like in jobs where I've performed the best, it's been when I've had a boss that recognized what I was the best at or what I thrived in. It wasn't necessarily picking me apart, making me be somebody I'm not. And while you have to be real careful, because sometimes it's real easy to say, well, this is my strength, that's my weakness. And then we make excuses and cover them like that. So I don't condone that. But if you want to focus on things that you have strength in and excel in it and build on that, I think that's a really good thing. So ask yourself, like, what am I good at? What do people around me come to me for? What what do I enjoy? Right? What do people say they trust you with? What do people say that what would other people say? Because sometimes what other people see in us are not necessarily what we see in ourselves, right? Because people come to me not when they need a big, warm, fuzzy hug. People come to me when they need to get stuff done. Or when, I'll never forget one of my very best friends called me crying because her wedding venue had been canceled at the last minute. And all she said was, Carrie, fix this. I know you can fix this. Just fix it. And she was bawling so hard I couldn't even understand anything else she said. But you know what? I fixed it. Like I happened to be a tax person for a minister in a different town. It wasn't very far away, and I'm like, I need your church, like this weekend, and we got it done. So ended up working out great. But I'm the person you call when you need to get stuff done or when you're having a crisis. I am a crisis person. I'm not the person that will sit and bask warm sunshine all over you and give you hugs when you're sad. Like it's just not my strength, so I don't do it. Because then people know that you're forcing it, right? It's the same thing in business. Don't you ever get put in situations in business where you can tell you're forcing yourself or it's just not you? Do we have to do that sometimes in life? We do. But it's the same thing as when everybody razzes me a little about a thumbnail looking happy every once in a while. I don't know. I think I'm just kind of, it's not that I'm not happy, but I have the RBF thing down pretty good. It's just my face. So when I force to try to look happy, I kind of look scary, right? Because it's not me and I'm forcing it. So when you force things in eBay, let's say you aren't photography isn't your thing, right? Or you just hate it. You just hate doing your pictures. Well, we have to do it, right? So there's no real getting around doing it, but how do we make it more tolerable for things that are okay with you like or that you do well at? So for me in the morning when I don't love shipping, so I save one podcast that I love to listen to and I only listen to it if I'm shipping. If I'm not shipping, I don't turn it on ever. And I've kept very strict with myself on that. So I feel like that is something I can push myself with because I recognize that, I don't love shipping, but to make it more palatable to me, I encourage myself with only listening to that podcast when I'm shipping. I reward myself with it. So then it almost becomes a good thing in my day because I'm associating it with something good. So while that's not maybe a personal strength, that's me knowing that I don't, I need a little encouragement in that area. So also I think of strengths not necessarily at just what you're good at. So we could be really good at something and not like it, right? We could be excellent at things that drain us, that feel like it's sucking the life out of us. And I've had that in corporate America. There's things I'm really good at, that just feel like you're like, I am really good at, different stock stuff and different financial markets and, retirement account planning. And, I'm really good at that stuff. It just sucks just everything I have out of me because I don't love it. I don't, um, I don't really want to be doing it. Do I do hypotheticals really well for finances? Yep, sure do. All the guys really always want me to do them for them, but I don't enjoy it, and it takes me twice as long to do it because I just don't wanna be doing it, but I'm good at it. So, I think our strengths need to be also what makes us happy, what we look forward to, what we feel like I love running ledgers and I love doing I really don't mind doing, like, taxes and stuff, and so I'd always get done really quickly because I enjoy doing it. So sometimes we have to focus on things that, just come easy to us and that we look forward to doing and it just doesn't seem like a big deal, right? So when things come easy to you, focus on those and then how you can build on that and build out from that with your business. I know football stars, for example. High school football stars are amazing at it. They hate it. They're being made to play because they're living somebody else's dream. I think we've all known kids or adults like that. They are living somebody else's dream. They're really good at it. Does that mean they should try to fit that mold forever? Should they keep playing the game for somebody else? I don't think so. I think that if you hate it and you feel like you're in quicksand all the time and you feel like you're trudging through mud every day of parts of your work or parts of your day, if it's not absolutely necessary, that we should stop doing it. I've kind of always been that person in real life. Like if it's just pulling teeth to get you to do it, you hate it so much, if at all possible, let's change it. Let's do something different. Do something that comes more naturally to you. Sometimes, in relationships, it's the same way. And we have a lot of relationships in reselling. So I'm sure if you're my husband, the fact that I'm overbearing and aggressively helpful all the time probably isn't like the most appealing quality that I have. But in business, it was always the best quality I had because I was my husband might have different words for when I'm being aggressively helpful all the time. My bosses called it she always gets stuff done. They called my aggressive helpfulness being the right hand man. I had bosses that I still have a boss. Apparently, he's been out of the country for 3 weeks. He didn't even tell me. He didn't even tell me he was going out of the country for 3 weeks. I've been trying to call him. I was checking the obituaries because I was sure he was dead. I haven't heard from him for 3 weeks. He hasn't logged into any of his accounts in 3 weeks. No, he was out of the country because you know why? Because he knew his business would run the same as it always has. Because I get stuff done. I pay attention. I'm his right-hand man, right? So that's how you look at things. But like I said, my husband doesn't really call me the right-hand man always getting stuff done. He probably says annoying, probably says controlling, probably has different words for it. So we put different strengths and different views, and the way you look at it, it comes out different. So my OCD. is probably a real weakness to me in certain things because I have to get certain things done at a certain time and in a certain way. So, like, to me in my personal life, it's a real weakness. But in business, me being hyper focused and me always completing my tasks is a strength. So it's just how you look at things and how you work your own, um, how you work around it. And so we have to kind of grow on those and sometimes our weaknesses, like those two things, are really our strengths. We just don't really know it and we're not putting it into perspective. Um, so focus on them and build on them. So if you have a weakness that's a true weakness or like what I call a character flaw, we just can't shove ourselves in a mold that we don't fit in. So if you aren't ever going to be a 20-day lister, but you have to make a living off of this, and you just can't handle it and you just don't want to, and it's just like I'm shoving you in this square peg, but you're round type of thing in this hole, well, then we have to turn if you're a 10-a-day lister and you're never going to be any more than that because you just can't, then we have to start what do we have to do? Then we have to get like 10 really good profit margin items with high sell-through rates, which is hard in a whole nother way. That's not the easy way out. That's actually really hard. So that's how you have to flip it to accommodate your own natural strengths and weaknesses. So like 25 doesn't feel hard for me right now. So the listing aspect of eBay, I could double on any day of the week. I could do 50 listing part. I don't want to do 50 photographs a day. I just, I really, really don't. So I have to, just like if I was only going to be a 10-day lister, I just have to be really careful with what I'm doing with my 25 a day because I know I never want to do 50 a day photos. Listings, maybe. Photos, I don't. Um, so some of the things I tried to write down some of the strengths that I see in people with reselling, and then you can think about how you can just really accelerate those areas. And also one of them is the whole night owl morning person thing. So the only issue I have with it is the night owls that quit working at normal time and just stay up really late. And then they get up really late. So that's not a strength as far as I see it in productivity. If you're working at midnight or late and you're knocking out work and you're being really productive during those hours, and then you sleep late and start your day late, I totally get that. Whatever's making you peak performance with your natural rhythm of sleep is great. I don't think sleeping in at that point is laziness. If you're being really productive in those night hours, then that's your time. We don't have to fit to the societal norms of people that get up early, do more, or no, because you know what? I'm sleeping at midnight. So I'm not productive when you are. But if you're not being productive at night and you're just staying up really late because you're a night owl, then yes, it becomes an excuse because then you have to sleep in because we do need to be able to sleep, but our productivity isn't good. So if you're productive, I'm with you. If you're not productive, we need to find your peak productivity time. But like some people are communicators, right? So we also can call those people, people that just never stop talking, or maybe you look at that as a weakness because you're really chatty and you like to, well, let's turn that into you can communicate with customers really well and you can communicate with potential sellers really well. So some people have the gift of gab and they'll just talk to whoever and they can just make a conversation. You can walk up to anybody and make a friend, right? So if that's you, then take that, hone in on the fact that you can make those personalized chats with customers. You can make those potential friendly chats with people you might want to buy from. And they will remember you because you have that natural gift of gab. You're not we've all had people come up to us and start conversations where you could tell they're really nervous or that they just don't want to be there and they'd like to be anywhere but in a negotiation, right? So that's fine. But if you are the opposite, let's build on that. Let's use that to respond to all these messages. Let's get out there on Facebook and say, this is what I do and this is what I want. Build on that communicator in you. Adaptability. So I'm a very go with the flow person. I'm a go with the flow person until I'm not, right? So we all have our stopping points. But I'm pretty adaptable. And I feel like that happened just with my life with livestock, right? I have no control over when 15 sheep want to have their babies all in one day, and I had somewhere to go. I've always had to live my life like during lambing season of, well, guess that plan's shot. I guess I'm in the barn today. Well, I feel like while it's a weakness in my life that I really can't plan anything and tell people for certain I'm going to be somewhere during that time period, it's a strength in the fact that it's really taught me to roll with things. I have no control over certain things. I have no control for certainty if eBay buyers are going to buy from my store today. I have no certainty of that. But if I'm adaptable to it and I can keep in my head that, hey, it's just another day, I keep going. It makes this job less stressful for sure. We get less stressed in this job if we're just rolling with it and following our processes that we know work. Analytical thinking. Some people find that those people in our lives to be nitpicky. Maybe they always want to play devil's advocate. Maybe they always want to turn things around and think about it. However, those people also are really good at data mining. Some of them might become a little bit of a spreadsheet warrior, but we need those people because it teaches us things. I can look at other spreadsheets that people do, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I can learn from it. So if that's you, then maybe your strength is that you can tell me what trend is coming up. You can tell me what trend is going down. You can tell us, be there right then when the markets are changing because you are really good at analyzing information. But if you're not, you know, quit spending hours on those dang spreadsheets that don't matter. But if this is you, then excel in that. It's when we're mediocrity at things, but we try to force ourselves to be good at everything. I am not good at everything. I am not even close to being good at everything. So I try to take things I'm really good with and I run with it. And the rest of it, I do the best I can, but I don't dive down those rabbit holes trying to be really good. Some people are super caring. Some people you get in their presence and you can just tell that they really care about people and they're just come off sweet and kind and so those people are going to handle those returns and those INADs and they're going to handle them better than some people are. Go with it. Be caring, especially like if you have to source the way I do. Usually somebody died, right? And if I had a more glowing personality, I would probably do better because I could talk about, oh, how Nana wore this, whatever. But if I do it, I'm going to come off. It's not that I don't care. I'm just not good at relaying that. Right? So I just don't go there. I just ignore that part because otherwise I'm awkward and then they want to leave because I'm weird. And so I just don't do it. I'm just business. It's how I am. And I just can't go into that area. But if you're good at it and you are really caring and you have that way about you, then use it to your advantage, especially when sourcing or when people are having a problem. You can relate to the fact that we don't know what's going on in their world, and your necklace probably didn't set them off that bad. They're probably having a bad time. If you're creative, let's hone in on that. Let's do ads. Let's do your storefront really awesome. Let's do, maybe you're really good at doing thumbnails if you're into social media. Use that creativity to really explode your business. Make those ads in Facebook that say what you do and what items you're looking for. I'm horribly not creative because I'm just so numbers focused. I'm so, give me the ledger with the straight lines and the spreadsheet and the matter of facts. I'm very matter of fact. So the creativity and the thumbnails and stuff come really hard for me. But I'm learning. We can learn those things. But if you're already really good at it, run with it. Make sure you're excelling in it because you're good at it. In finance management, if you're really good at your household budget, and you're really good at keeping track of everybody's money and you're good at all that, buy it to your reselling business. Knock out keep the tracks of any fluctuations in your cost of goods or your sales and really hone in on that because we can't all be good at all of this stuff. We just can't. And I don't want you to be. So when I'm saying that we need to do this or that and this, it's going to apply to some people and some people it's just not going to apply to. But it's my job to give you the options, give you the avenues, give you the best practices of each thing. Does that mean I think you all should excel in every area? No, because it's not normal to be that, perfect and that excel in everything and to be the best at everything. And I have the kind of personality that whatever I do, I want to be the best at. I want to excel and I want to be the top. It's just my personality. So then I focus at how can I be that, right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to be creative and have fun ads, or that I'm going to be able to like hug these people and tell stories, right? Because that's not me and I'm not good at it. So just try to hone in on what we're good at and use that to excel us instead of spending the whole day trying to fix something about you that maybe doesn't need to be fixed. There's lots of things I'm very mediocre at, and I just have to get through it the best I can because I'm just not the best. And it's okay that I'm not the best. So that was kind of my topic for today. And I'd love to hear what you guys feel about it. I'm going to read some of the comments and then any questions you had from your metrics. Go ahead, or from the weekend, or any questions, comments, colorful remarks. I'm up for it. Harry says when he mentors teens, he tries to tell them at least 2 positive things before telling them a negative. Yep, and that works with employees too, unless I'm really mad, and then we don't do that. But it's really hard to make me mad anyway, so I'm usually pretty good at the positives. A critique sandwich, good, bad, and good. Yep. And if we can envelop things we don't like to do or the bad with things we do, then that's all the better. So I don't love the photography, so I do it first thing. I take them pictures, get it out of the way, it's done. I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, and I listen to my podcast. That's how I'm sandwiching that. And Harry says sometimes night owl is an excuse. It really is. Like, I'm a night owl, but if you're just scrolling on your phone, you're not a night owl. You're just not going to sleep. There's a difference. And that's our productivity. Yeah, I'm with you, Harry. So Jed's always done that in his job too, Um, officers that are just not respectful at all to the guys, or just are really rude and running down all the time and tell them how terrible they are. We have trouble with them. But Jed's always been really good at telling them how good they can be and why he thinks they can be good. And if enough people keep telling you that you have good in you, you will start to see it too. And same way with when I'm coaching, I will tell you things we need to fix and things that will make you better, but I also will always point out the things I know you're doing right. And I've yet to do the individual coaching with someone that I couldn't find a lot of good in, right? I mean, I could always find the good and then tell them, do more of that, do more of this. Sometimes we do the right thing and we keep doing the best thing, and then we stop and we do something different. And I don't know why. Things are working, things are going good, and then we stop and, oh, we better change it up. I'm getting better at not doing that to myself because it's detrimental to my business and to my mindset. How are you guys' sales this weekend? No, not good? Not good? I quit counting at 70. I was over it. I was in shipping terribleness this morning, but it was a really good weekend for me.
Mine was
Very good too.
low average, kind of mediocre, like Harry.
Larry says, what is the best way to contact eBay these days? He had a cancellation request that slipped by. Now I have a shipment that the buyer doesn't want me to ship, but I am getting dinged for late shipment. Well, you have to just cancel it. I mean, there's not much you can do besides go ahead and cancel it.
When I go in to try to cancel it, it says that it's the cancellation is in progress, but
Oh,
I
just
can't
use
I
the
can't
chat
do anything
function
with
for
it.
that, or Facebook. If you go to Facebook and you message them, they're pretty good at handling things like
They're
that.
still answering that Facebook group.
It's just the eBay. There's no eBay for business anymore. It's just eBay. They consolidated.
So in Facebook, I would message eBay,
Just
the
eBay. Yeah.
username eBay. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. They helped
The
me yesterday with my big
the
thing.
takeaway there is I got this cancellation request. They were asking me not to send it because they're gonna change their address or do something else. So I just kind of read it and moved on, and it wasn't aware to me that I needed to act on it. And then
Yep.
3 days later, it started showing up as a late shipment, and it's been late shipment for me for the past 4 or 5 days. So I want to shut that down.
Yep. We got to stay on top of those. Oh man, I see I just got a message pop up that says, do you offer free returns? I do, but I don't love those questions before you even order, but hey, glad to offer them for you. Yeah, that big, huge case against me was pretty scary because, I do ride ride the risk once in a while. And I just thought to myself, I bet I didn't get that signature confirmation. And I did, thank goodness. But if I hadn't, $700 would have taught me a real expensive lesson on why there's those rules in place and we have to know them. So hopefully people can learn from that, because I guarantee you when I went ahead and did the signature confirmation, I bet I was on the fence about it. So, and the person on all the signature confirmations isn't the same as the person that bought it. So I don't really know who this person is, but it's not my problem, I guess. And that $700 one was in the 1st of October.
Well, now you have to explicitly deny it. You have to say, I want to skip signature confirmation and insurance as of
So maybe that's what poked me.
the last couple months or a few months. I don't know when it changed. I
They
don't
Well, that's good.
default
I'm
to the
glad.
more profitable model for themselves.
I don't think they're making that much on insurance. I mean,
I don't think so
insurance,
either. It's about the same as pirate ships.
yeah, I mean, I shipped that cornet and it was $700 or $7 for, 600, I guess, or $700 worth of insurance, which I don't think is bad.
It's pretty close to what pirate ships insurance is. Devin?
So I almost I thought I was gonna be in a pickle last night. And thank God it was just a typo in the address. So I had a package yesterday that I noticed that was going to a freight forwarder. And when some people do this, they put like all the addresses and like in their Dropbox, like on the same line. So you got to go in there and separate it, for the post office, make it all look nice and pretty. But when I did that, um, you know, I double clicked because of all the things scrambled together. I double checked to make sure it was Doral, Florida, and it was. But when I printed it and it came out of the printer, it said Sweetwater. It said Sweetwater. But whenever I Googled it, it showed me. I guess I typed it in wrong. I typed in Clearwater, Florida, instead of which is up by Tampa, north of Tampa. I'm like, oh crap. Um, so fortunately, it was not wrong. It was correct. Everything was fine. So when you're in a situation, it's a double-edged sword whenever you're doing, next day shipping, but then there's a major problem with the address and you can't get in touch with the buyer. Do we just, and my problem was that I went in there myself and manually changed the address just to fix it. Okay. When it comes to something like that, are you just going to, obviously you want to send a message out, hopefully they respond to you. But if they don't contact you by, say the next day, which, before my mail shows up, are you just going to ship it off anyway? Or, I don't want the defect, but I guess what I'm getting at is how do you resolve those type of issues when there's when there is an address issue?
That's
And you're running
why
up
we
against
have
a
that
problem?
option when we cancel an order. You choose issue with buyer's address.
Okay. I didn't think about
That's
that.
what that's for.
Okay.
So like in your
It's something I
situation,
have
that would have been
rarely ever used.
appropriate.
Okay.
I used it once for a Canada sale when they couldn't get mail, and I've used it in the exact situation Devin's talking about when the address just isn't right and it won't work. Except I don't go and mess with people's addresses. I don't make corrections. If it doesn't work in the system, then I cancel it and they can repurchase and fix it themselves, because I don't want to be liable for it being wonky. So that's exactly what that's for.
I guess I'm just so jaded from so many people, responding to these bigger groups saying when there's an issue, just cancel it with problem with address whenever you know it's not the case. And I don't know
I
why
don't
people
think you
do
should
that,
do
because
that at all.
eBay can easily go in there and look and see that there's no problems.
Yep. And I do think that's going to start biting people more and more and more. I think the computer systems are getting smarter. And I think I have heard people are getting defects on things that they chose chose the wrong, I guess you should say, wrong reason for canceling, and eBay's figuring out they're just handing out the defects. So, but on your case, you would have been fine.
Okay.
That's the correct way to use that. Yeah, I don't either, Harry. He says he doesn't change the address anymore. And noted, Lynn. We can certainly do a topic on that one day and see how people handle all of that. but it's very, 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 very personalized, right? So it probably depends on what you buy, sell. It depends on your business model. Because what's a big discount to you might not be a big discount to me, or vice versa. You know, maybe I think it's a huge discount and you're like, yeah, it's no big deal. Just depends on how you I think the one thing we can all agree on is that we don't consolidate into one order anymore, because that has bit me once pretty good. So I would not recommend doing that for people. If you choose to and that's your business model, great, do it. And if it goes badly, you'll just fix it. But man, if they want to return one item in that customized order that included all the items, it's a problem. That's why they tell you not to do it. It also gets around their customs, because sometimes their customs are per item. And if you make it into one order, one item type of thing, and consolidate, then sometimes that's why they're doing it, which is not good. So I just don't do it anymore. It didn't go very well. Well, it went fine until it didn't, one of those types of things. All right,
Carrie,
guys.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I might have, hold on one sec. I might have missed hi, you guys. Good morning. I might have missed what you said in the beginning of that because I'm confused with what you just said in reference to combined shipping. So what are you saying?
No,
You know,
and I think Lynn and I probably see it more than maybe clothing sellers or whatever, but
right.
lots
Sure.
of times somebody will say, hey, I want all these items, and they'll send you like screenshots of all the items they want, and they want you
Uh-huh.
to put it in one listing for them.
In
So that
one listing.
especially if they're
Oh,
international, because they don't want,
gotcha.
it's hard to
Okay.
combine international shipping depending on what you offer. And so
Gotcha.
for the shipping part, they want it in one listing. And
Mm,
lots of people do that. Lots of people don't have any trouble. But like, so what happens, or what the caveat is if and I think sometimes they're playing the game on purpose, they will get that
mm-hmm.
whole item that was in one order, one listing, and there'll be one item that they say is broken, one item that they say they don't want. Well, with
Okay.
eBay's terms and services, they have to return that whole listing,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
And then what do? Do you
Wow.
reach out to eBay and say, well, I circumvented the system and made one custom listing for all these
Right.
items, right?
Right. Right.
They
Right. Okay.
tell you to, yeah, I did that. And she wanted
So you
one item
just
return.
So you just tell them to do the combine thing now, right? Is that what you do? They just
If I
order and do combined shipping?
do combine shipping, and now that it's working better internationally for people, that seems to be a better option.
Yeah.
But when it's not working, or when, there's little glitches on that. So sometimes you still can't combine shipping or create an invoice for certain people. I can't tell you why.
Hmm.
And that's why they want you to do that. And then sometimes there's customs reasons why, but they
Okay.
shouldn't be circulating customs anyway.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Those custom listings will kind of get you sometimes. But yeah, we can definitely talk about everybody's going to have a different view on it, and there won't be any wrong answers on how we handle people that want big discounts for multiple items. I love it. Fill a box. I'll do 35, sometimes even 40% off if you want to fill a whole box full of stuff. That lady that had that $700 order, if that was all pretty low dollar stuff, she pretty much cleaned out my old items. Of course, she, opened a case against me, months later, but I have lots of orders like that and they're fine. Gives me a fresh start. It helps clean out the store. All right. Anybody else have any questions this morning before I check out the recording? Oh, you're right, Harry.
Carrie,
There
how
are
do-
wrong
oh,
answers, but it's a hot button topic and it can make people mad. So that's why I'm avoiding it, because people in here have different viewpoints too. So I do agree that there's wrong answers, but it's a personal preference. Yes, Catherine.
Carrie, when you do a coupon, do you put the coupon even on your newest listed items?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And do you have a cutoff time for your coupons, or is it just like endless coupon?
Oh, I start and restart different coupons, but I also put it on a calendar. So I try coupons and markdowns at different times of the month and different amounts to see what's working best. So I try not to make coupons and markdowns be emotional, like, oh, I haven't had good sales the last couple of days, I'm gonna run a coupon. Because that's really not the way so I put it all in a calendar and I run my promotions according to the calendar.
And is there a way to look up what items, like what % of items sold using the coupon versus
I'm not sure about
not?
percentages, but if you go to your discount manager, it'll tell you exactly how many items sold using those codes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Although I tend to disagree with it. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I feel like mine doesn't always show all of them, but I could be, it seems like it doesn't count some of them, because I know people are using the coupon, but sometimes they'll say like 2 used it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm wondering how many people actually use the coupon.
Yeah. So I feel like, so like when I'm buying on eBay, if the store offers a coupon rate, it puts it in the coupon box for me and grays it out. So automatically applies it to all the orders. But if you go to your discount manager, sometimes they'll say like 3 people used it. And I'll be like, it's going on every order. It's going on every eligible order.
Yeah. So you just have it on all your items.
Oh yeah. I want to sell all my items. I don't want to, that's my point.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
double check the markdown manager, I just checked. I went to like my paid order screen and then I put Control F to find on the screen. I just put coupon and then it showed up on all the places in the.
oh, that's really
last
smart,
week.
Meg. No, that's smart. I would have thought that. All right, I'm going to end the recording, but we're not going to go away here.